Okay, so this is my first narration and battle together, so heads up for that. And I just feel the need to post all my battles, so this is a loss. Don't expect to win. So yeah, here we go. He starts off with his heat rotom. I start off with my Glade, and he tricks, and I tried to taunt, but he outsped me there, so he steals my sash, and I get specs. So I switch out to my Rhyperior. He uses Ominous Wind, gets a decent chunk of damage to him, but not enough to actually kill me, but he gets an all-stat raise. So that's good on his part. Bad for me. Uses Ominous Wind again. I just sit there. I use Avalanche because, I don't know, I figured since I already got hit it'd do 2 times as much damage, but that was just stupid on my part. I should have used Stone Edge, or Stealth Rocks at least. And then I just use him as, just leave him in there to die. You know, what am I going to do? So I switch out to my Honchkrow, and then switch out to my Lantern just to absorb, to check if he has a Thunder move, which he obviously does. He has Discharge. Then he steals my leftovers and gives me a Sash, which is pretty useless to me. I Thunder Wave him, just so now I have a chance to take him out. And sucks he stole my leftovers though. So he switches out to his Tyranitar, which sets all this jazz up, and I go for the Surf. And I believe I OHKO him. Oh no, it does half. And then I switch out to my Honchkrow, and I absorb his attack because I was pretty sure Lantern would have died. And I do survive, and I use Superpower, which he was not anticipating at all after talking to my friend after. And that's the OHKO right there. I actually really like Honchkrow, just on a side note. I think he's absolutely amazing for a sweeper. But I wasn't able to set up Nasty Plot this round, unfortunately. So he brings out the Scizor. I switch out to Tangrowth, anticipating an attack, and I wanted my Honchkrow for later, but he uses Swords Dance. So I believe now I use Sleep Powder. He uses Agility. He's trying to set up for a sweep or a pass. So I use Sleep Powder here, because I figure, okay, I gotta stop him now. And next I switch out, or I knock off, I can't remember. I switch out, I switch back to my Honchkrow, hoping he doesn't wake up, and he doesn't, thankfully. So I use Heat Wave, which is an awesome move, with Expert Belt backing it up, 4 times super effective. OHKO his Scizor, which is sweet, because, you know, everyone loves OHKOs. And then, the biggest problem I faced this round was the Infernape. So I left Honchkrow in just to absorb the Vacuum Wave and Scatter move as well at the same time. So I know he's got a priority move. So I bring out my Glade to go for a Destiny Bond, anticipating an attack, but he has Taunt, which is pretty annoying, but good on his part. So now I just use Shadow Sneak, and I'm still Choice Spect, so I can't do anything else now. But I also find out that he has Life Orb after absorbing his Flamethrower, just enough. And then I figure, okay, Shadow Sneak one more time with Sandstorm damage, I can kill him with Life Orb Recoil. So Shadow Sneak him down to the Reds. He uses Flamethrower. I do die, but Life Orb Recoil and Sandstorm does take him out, so that's awesome. So that guy was dealt with. And then I send out my Blaziken just to scout what's coming up next. He sends out Probopass, and I superpower it for an OHKO. My Scarfed Blaziken too, just on a side note. I obviously would have outrun him anyway, but Scarfed means that I'm gonna have to switch out whatever he sends me next, because I won't be able to survive to hit it. And it's his Rotom, so I send out my Lantern again, anticipating a Thunder move, and I get healed back to full health, which doesn't really matter. He still has my leftovers, unfortunately, so my Lantern's not going to do too good. So I Surf him, and does a nice chunk of damage. I absorb his Ominous Wind, seeing as a special sponge Lantern. And then I believe I go for the Surf and knock him out, which I do. Now, I think he sends out his Torterra. but I can't quite recall. Yeah, it's his last one, a Torterra. And this is just unbelievable. I thought I could outspeed him, so I went for Ice Beam, yet his Torterra was faster. Knocked me out with Earthquake. No way I could have survived. Now this is where things start to really just get annoying. I send out Blaziken and Overheat misses, so he gets up a sub. Now I figure I could have switched, and I don't know why I didn't switch. This was just dumb on my part. So I use Overheat again, breaks the sub. He uses Earthquake and it knocks me out. So that was just dumb on my part. That was totally my stupidity. Yeah. Super effective, knocks me out. Not good. But now we're down to a stall battle. All I've got left is my Tangrowth, so it's a grass stall battle now. So this next part gets pretty annoying. So I attempted to knock off his leftovers, but he was faster. So that was just, yeah, it's kind of sad. And so he uses Curse, but this is good because now he's slower than me. So I go for Power Whip to try and break his sub, which I do. This time I broke his sub. Power Whip wouldn't always break his sub. Sometimes I'd have to follow it up with a knockoff. But got lucky and Power Whip did break it this time. So we're locked in a stall battle. I went for the Power Whip because I actually hadn't registered that I'd be faster until after this turn. So that was just dumb on my part. I could have knocked off his leftovers already, but you know, life goes on. I Power Whip again to try and take out the sub, but his sub survives this time. So now he figures, okay, gotta start doing some damage. So he Earthquakes, and I just absorb his Earthquakes very well. So I actually really like Tangrowth, even though he's, you know, never used or whatever. I actually really like Tangrowth. And I Power Whip again, because I hadn't figured out that a Power Whip and a knockoff could take out his sub, because I wasn't quite sure. Because knockoff ends up being the reason. Well, okay, you'll see. I won't spoil it. So this is getting really intense. This is down to the wire here. I Power Whip. I don't break his sub. He tries to seed me, forgetting that you can't seed grass Pokemon. And I also make a really stupid move. Like another really stupid move. The reason I lost was stupid moves. He set up a sub there, trying to think I would probably break his first sub. But when I do break his sub, I hadn't quite realized that I could just Sleep Powder him. I just wasn't thinking. I was like, hey, kill this Torterra, knock it out. I didn't quite think of doing that for whatever reason. I was dumb. I think for some reason I'd registered that Leech Seed was grass, and so, you know, Sleep Powder is grass, so it just won't work. I don't know. It was just really stupid. So I take his Earthquake. It's just a gridlock of substitutes and Power Whips and knockoffs. It just never ends. So I knock off his substitute. Okay, I'm not gonna do that ever again. He uses Earthquake, slowly whittling away my health. And now I finally knock off his leftovers. So I have a better chance of doing some damage here. And what I didn't notice here was that knockoff literally did like 10 damage at the most. But I thought maybe it had done a little bit more. But I didn't see that literally his health bar barely dropped. And I Power Whipped, and he survives. He's got like 20 health, he says. I talked to him afterwards. He says he's got like 20 health. I'm down to 81. Now there's Sandstorm in effect, so that lowers before leftovers kicks in. And now watch. I knock off. He was at 11 health, and knockoff only did 10 damage. He Earthquakes, and then I die from Sandstorm, which was ridiculous. That was just ridiculous. He should have died, but yet he won, and so I lost. And I'm pretty ticked off about that, but what can you do? So, good game, Eric. Nice battle. Gay win. But, yeah, until next time. See ya.